Teammates, we are back once again. If this is your first time listening to the Move Swiftly podcast, welcome to the number one show on innovative teamwork. Great to have you. Looking forward to having you back for more. To my regular listeners, you know how we get down when you hit the play button. Whatever the challenge, the obstacle, whatever it is that may be getting in your way, we are here to indirectly tell you you are not going through it alone. Today, I have Mr. Brian Childress, correct?
Yep, that's it.
He is about to give us, not just you, and I was telling him this right before we started recording, actually, but he's going to give us a master's class on software development in regards to how to connect your vision as a business owner, what it is you're trying to serve in the world, how it is you want to serve people in the world. It's going to give us a master's class on how to use software and technology to do it in the most effective and efficient way. So, Brian, welcome to the show.
Aswan, it's great to be here.
Yes, and one of the things I was telling you before we started recording is I was actually tuning into some of your previous shows. You know, again, regular listeners, you guys know this about me. I don't just let anyone on. I actually do my research and I really listen to some of the things and their background stuff. And I'll give you the microphone in a second to let you tell it. But can you speak a little bit about how you came up? Because there was a period there where you really weren't in technology at all. Like it was like a real far left for you. So I'm curious now in terms of kind of your upbringing and the way you grew up a little bit, and then how eventually you pivoted to being like this kind of guru in terms of software development.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. Yeah, so software is really my second career.
Hmm.
I originally started out, went to college, graduated, and spent some time as an outdoor guide. So I would take people whitewater rafting and rock climbing and really pushing the limits that they felt like they had, really pushing their comfort level. And in some of the most beautiful places, in some of the most risky environments. And I really enjoyed a lot of the work that I was doing there. And somewhere along the way, found software and migrated into software. And that's where I've been for the past 15 years.
What were some of the similarities that you saw as an outdoor guide person? I'm asking this because a lot of times when we see technology, it can be intimidated, but it's really just a matter of how you use it. And in my case, it's really just a matter of using it to get people to a certain location, whether it is whitewater rafting, whether it is at an event somewhere. When you made that pivot, what were some of the transitions excuse me, some of the similarities that you were seeing between your first career and your second career?
Yeah, so really a lot of the things that I need to be able to do day in and day out, I need to be able to lead teams and lead people through confusion and uncertainty. I need to evaluate risk really, really quickly so that I can make the right determination on, on the software side, what's our cybersecurity plan? How do we keep our application and our users secure? And, when I was guiding, it was how do I keep people safe and how do I keep them alive?
Yeah.
But being able to quickly evaluate risk, what are the opportunities, what are the drawbacks with the various options, and make a decision and go with that decision. I need to be able to do both.
Now, when you were just getting started, what was like that first transition like for you? Did you, go get a job somewhere with a software company and then start building your own thing? How was it like? How did you first get that initial connection to where you started to realize, hey, I have a service and a product and something that I can really help people with?
Yeah, so when I made that transition, I was really intimidated. Growing up, I was not the kid at 8 years old that was programming computer games on my family's computer. Like that just wasn't me.
Right.
And so I had a lot of fear and intimidation and imposter syndrome coming into software. I didn't have that background.
Mhm.
And so one of the things that I did in order to really make sure that I was building the skills and building that experience was I started doing kind of moonlighting or freelancing work on the side. So
Um,
I was able to land a fantastic job early on, right out of graduate school, and from there continued to grow and hone my skills. And at some point, I found that I wasn't learning quick enough, and I wasn't learning the things that I thought would really propel me forward. And that's when I started moonlighting and freelancing.
mhm. And so, and again, that's a great point too, as well, for you listeners. I don't want it to just get brushed over, but when it comes to actually making that transition, it is important that you do spend some time freelancing, getting the kind of the beta testing out there, getting the information so you have something to go on and you have something concrete as you make the full transition. What were the trends that you were starting to see as you're doing this freelance work? Because I could tell you, me personally, one of the things I would do is I would go to I use Fiverr a lot when it comes to a lot of the marketing and all, like a lot of the flies and stuff. And eventually I landed on one person that I usually just pay something every month to, and he handles all the thumbnails and stuff like that. So when it comes to the trends and the things that you were actually seeing as a freelancer, kind of walk us through a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I had the opportunity to work across just a number of different industries and projects and project sizes. And the one thing that I continued to see over and over again as I was coming into existing projects as a freelancer was most of them were just too complicated. Whoever had, they had hired, maybe they found someone on Fiverr or found somebody. The technology was driving the show. And what I mean by that was we were making decisions based on the technology, not necessarily on the problem that we were solving. And so a lot of times the work that I was doing was coming in and making things just simpler. I was
Mhm.
taking out a lot of the unnecessary complexity that was brought in, and people just didn't understand, and was really confusing and hard to maintain, and very problematic. Took
Mhm.
away a lot of that complexity, brought in a simple solution, and that was the thing that the business really needed to then take them to that next level.
Do you have an example of what some companies would do that was just too complex?
Yeah, I'll give you a really good example. A couple of years ago, I joined a project where the system was so complex because they were building for a scale that they didn't have. They were building for a user base that was just huge, right? They were kind of following like a Netflix or a Google level of architecture
I,
and
I've personally made that
complexity.
mistake. I've made that. I have,
I have too. A lot
yeah,
of us have,
yeah.
right? Because
Mhm.
we think that we need to be building for that level of scale from day one, right? If I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it right. I'm going to do it right from the start.
And your heart's into it, you know. It really
You're
is.
right. Exactly. I'm investing all this money. I don't want to invest this money again. Let me do it right.
Right,
And oftentimes what happens is we're building for a scale that we don't have, which means we have complexity that we don't necessarily need. And
right.
so when I joined this particular project, I went in and said, man, we need like 20% of what we have here.
Yeah.
And we don't need all of this other piece that's super confusing that new developers joining the project just don't understand. It was just too complicated. So I went in and just ripped out about 80%
Hmm.
of the complexity, made things super simple, easy to understand, easy to explain. And then we were able to get the system working in really, really quickly.
Now, what kind of resistance do you face from companies that are kind of paid to make things complex? Because I'll give you an example. When the company I was referring to that I built kind of a user base and I was scaling before, I had one thing built first. Before I had that one thing built, I went ahead of myself and I ultimately paid the price for that. And when I was building that specific thing, it's gym44.com, by the way. But I was working with a company named High Tech Pro, and my cousin came in who just is really good with computers, and he was reading their proposal, and a lot like you, he was like, "Nope, don't need that. They just want your money. Nope, don't need that." He's just going through all these things, and I'm thinking now with you, are there like technology companies, custom design companies, software companies that they're paid to make things complicated? So people, business owners call them and they say, "Hey, we want our money." Can you speak on that a little bit?
Oh, 100%. I mean, there are a lot of great companies out there. There are a lot of really, really good development agencies. So I don't want to cast too broad of a net here,
Mhm.
but there are companies that are paid to, create something. A lot of times what we see is companies will create something even if you as the founder don't need it, right? They're going to yeah, absolutely. We will build that for you. And they become more order takers
Right,
than true partners in building the platform because you have money, they want money, they're going to take it from you. So they will add additional developers that you don't need. They'll add project managers that you don't need. They will use one of the worst things that I see is they will use their own proprietary technology because it's better for you than or they'll tell you that it's better for you and the thing that you're building, that there's just not something else that we can pull off the shelf and use. So we need to use our proprietary solution, which then, of course, locks you into that particular vendor for maintenance, for updates, because you're relying on the thing that they built.
Right.
So oftentimes it does happen. And one of the things that I like to do is to stop that from happening,
Right.
because so many founders, don't understand technology and don't understand what it is that they're buying. And so, unfortunately, people are cashing out their 401ks and raising a bunch of money to spend on these development efforts. And at
Right.
the end of the day, it's just not something that they needed.
Right. And when it comes to how you are able to, or how do you I guess communicate that to the founders? Because I can see how difficult that is as a founder. They're really putting their heart into this business and they're being told kind of in an indirect way, you need to establish a presence online. They're being told because of the new people coming up and how connected we are online. If they have the check, they're just going to write what they need to write the check for, and they're not going to know. But like you said, now your 401k is involved, and now you can lose your business because somebody came in and basically chopped your nuts off. And it's like, hey, I got my money, I'm good. Is there a way that you're communicating with business owners to let them know, hey, I'm available, and you don't have to go and spend all of this, talk to me first? Walk us through how you're able to do that.
Yeah, so the thing that I always want to help founders to do is to actually validate their idea and going and talking to customers.
Okay.
So I will really spend a lot of time with all the horror stories, all the things where, I helped a founder recover $100,000 in that they had sent to a development agency and got absolutely nothing for it.
Uh,
Just really kind of illustrating that the ways that this thing could go and that I've seen and I've got, firsthand experience with, and really highlighting and trying to get those early wins with validating your idea when it's cheaper, when it's easier, before we start to bring in the expense, both time and money, of custom software development.
Yes, and when he says validating your idea, and this is very, very important for a lot of you business owners out there, means sales. Okay, you have to actually know your damn product works and it can sell, and there's a group of people that will be willing to buy it. And the only thing that software technology is going to do is to make that more efficient. But without a quality product, eventually it's going to catch up with you. You can spend all the money you want on technology, on the best of the best, but go out, meet strangers, shake their hands, ask them specifically, do you want this product? Is this a quality product or service? Go sell it. And then the other stuff starts happening after that. That's a very key takeaway because, again, if you have it, you have the money, you feel like you're being productive, it's not going to happen for you. And eventually that stuff will catch up to you.
100%. Yeah. It's the hardest thing for many founders and business owners. We actually have to go out and talk to people and talk
Yeah.
to our customers.
Yes, yes. Now I do have to ask now too, because now with the new trends, and I'm pretty sure it wasn't around when you were just coming up, but when AI has entered the picture, we're recording this, by the way, guys, it is 2 months away from 2025. Artificial intelligence has officially arrived. All right. If you have not picked up on it yet, you better figure out how to integrate whatever it is you're doing with AI. So when it comes to someone that's specifically in the field of technology, how have you adjusted to AI and what are some of the things that you're starting to see in terms of as it grows and all that stuff?
Yeah, so I think AI is one of those things. It's a seismic shift. The same way that the internet disrupted the way we live and work, the same way that mobile changed the way that we live and work,
Uh-huh.
AI has the same level of impact, in my opinion.
Mhm.
Um, I'm not concerned necessarily about AI taking my job, but I'm very concerned about someone using AI effectively and efficiently being the one taking my job. So I encourage everyone on every single one of my teams to be using AI some way, somehow in their day-to-day development. My engineers are using the tools that are available. Other people in the organization are using the tools that are available. And I myself challenge myself to use it in some new way every single day so that it becomes natural.
Right. But when you talk about people under like your team, because this is another valuable thing for business owners to grasp as well, is there something that AI may have to where you can maybe remove or replace an actual human being or make it so that you're them to a different higher standard. I'm not advocating for anybody to lose their job or anything like that, but maybe even allow them to be more flexible in terms of the job that they actually do. What are some of the ways that you may use it to help when it comes to hiring and bringing in the right people?
Yeah, so I'm looking for folks to use AI to propel them forward, to do the tasks that we don't do a great job at as humans, the jobs that we don't want to do. If
Uh,
we can use AI to do a better job so that we can have, more consistency in our documentation or the
yeah.
code that we're writing, if we can use the tools to do better and we can eliminate a lot of those tasks that we're just not good at,
Right.
but then we can kind of open up our mind space to do the things that we are good at as humans and really doing that problem solving. Now I'm starting to really supercharge my engineering team, and I don't necessarily need to grow my team in the same way. I
Right.
can better leverage the team that I already have.
Yeah, and that is, man, oh my goodness. All right. Visit. I hope you guys, if you got to rewind that one and listen to it again, that's a huge one. Because when you free up your team and you allow your team to go out and do, the work that's going to be directly leading to the income to your business. And as a business owner, that's your responsibility, is to make sure that the money is coming in, regardless of what's going on in the world. It's your job to make sure the money continues to keep coming in, because you have people that depend on you and you have people that depend on you to make the right decision and the responsible decision. So that's a huge one when it comes to using it in a way where you're freeing up your time, or you're freeing up your employees to do the more money making activities. And when it comes to you, the for anyone that may be listening, is there a specific type of business owner that or founder that you're looking to work with? Can you kind of walk us through the ideal client, or the person that you just kind of turn away with, or the mindset they should have in case they're listening?
Yeah, so for me, I work with a lot of companies that are doing B2B work. They serve other businesses. They're developing software that either helps them internally be more productive, or it's software that they're selling to their customers, right? This typical software as a service model is really where I work.
Mhm.
For me, I'm looking for companies that are growing, that are really aggressively trying to scale not only the number of users or customers that they have, but also how can they scale their development team, whether adding more people to the team or just making their team more productive.
Yes. Oh man, the aggressive, the actual growing and being productive. To be very clear with you guys, the ones that have that mindset that are really trying to grow. So, what is if anyone's listening, what's like next? What can you see coming down the pipeline when it comes to your business and how you look at it to grow, or are you looking for it to grow?
For me specifically,
Yeah, yeah, for
I'm
you.
looking,
Like what's
okay.
next? Yeah.
Yeah, so for me specifically, I do a lot of technical advising. So I'll work with a lot of companies and founders. They may have technical leadership in their organization, and they are hitting certain scaling challenges where they're trying to grow their software, and it's not stable. It doesn't have the growth capabilities, or they're trying to, again, grow their team, make their team more productive.
Mhm.
So I work with a lot of companies in that capacity where they lean on me as the technical expert to come in and help guide them through this process. And for me, I'm always focused on the business and the business value. I'll never let the technology be the driver or the decision maker. Like you mentioned earlier, technology is a way that we just become more efficient and we can really kind of propel ourselves forward.
Mhm. And if anyone's listening, what's the best way to get in touch with you if they want to hear more and kind of, bring you on as a client, whether it's being the advisor or being the person that's helping with all their software development?
Yeah, absolutely. So the best place to find me is on LinkedIn. That's where I'm most active. I'm typically posting one or more times a day over there. So I always encourage folks to reach out, connect with me, and I'm happy to chat.
Yeah, and all that will be included in the show notes as well. So, Brian, the final thing I do to close out all the shows, I want you to use your imagination a little bit. You're back in your undergrad days, you're teaching people how to dodge waves, you're making sure everyone is safe, you're making sure everyone is really good on the raft, or they call it a boat, right?
Yep. Yeah,
Like
Raft.
the
Yep.
raft, yeah, the raft. Just pretend that version of you has come into the Zoom room. Give him some words of encouragement, and we will officially close.
Yeah, I would tell that younger version of myself to take advantage of all the opportunities that are presented to you. The opportunity to travel, to connect with others. If it means maybe putting a trip that you can't quite afford on a credit card, take advantage of that opportunity because it's in those opportunities, in those experiences that we really will find kind of where we want to go and how we want to grow in ourselves and in our careers.
That's it. I have absolutely nothing to add to that. That's very important. And she business, I mean, as the regular listeners know what we do here, the reason I close out with that question, because if that is your situation, if that, you know, what he described earlier is you, we're here to indirectly tell you you're not going through it alone. So, all that being said, fellow teammates, continue to move swiftly. We will talk more soon.